what we're about to try to do here this evening is I'm Joe Costa with my son Brian Costa, and what we're trying to do here tonight is to get some of these pictures and put them together on video so that we'll have them recorded over the years, and there's a lot of enjoyment. And the things I'm about to say here, some of this information on these pictures, I may be wrong, but to the best of my knowledge, when I say these things, why, I hope that I'm getting them as close as I can in my memory. This first picture is of Grandpap, great-grandpap Costa. And I don't know too much about him because Grandma Costa had more than one husband and boyfriend. So now these other pictures that we're going to be doing is going to be, hope we can get them in order, but if we don't, you just have to bear with me tonight. This picture here is my mom when she was a little girl. I don't know what age she is here, but Grandma Ross sent this to Mrs. Lucas, and like I say, I don't know the age of this or anything, but this is an early picture of my mom, and I don't know whether she could have been maybe 5 or 4 or something like that in there. This is a picture of my mom Margaret and my dad Joseph Costa. I don't know what year this one is either, but I would say it was before I was born, I'm pretty sure, or my sister, or my brother. That's cool. This is a picture of my mom Margaret. Well, her name was, she was called Marge, as you can see on the picture. I don't know what year this is either, but it's looks like she's got a fur coat like on, and it's a good picture of her anyhow. This is a picture of my mom, I think in about 1947, and I think she's about ready to say, looks like no mail today. I think she's waiting a letter from my dad. He was working out of town in strip mines, and it looks like that she's almost got some elastic around that, but that's just a dress, and the way the weeds are making it look that way. And that's her bonnet on there. So that's a good picture of my mom. Okay. This is a picture of my dad from First World War. I think he was stationed in Hawaii, and he sure was a good-looking man there, I think. And he told me some stories about when he was in the service and being in Hawaii and everything. This is my dad. That's Grandpap Costa. And that's Grandpap Ross and Grandma Ross, and they raised my mom for many years, and she was very close to them. She shared a lot about them. She really loved them, and Grandpap Ross, when Grandma Ross died, he grieved and he committed suicide. Okay. One other thing about Grandpap Ross was that that's where we get our Blackfoot Indian from, so that's where our Indian blood comes into our family. This picture here is at the Neff Lumber Company. It's a good picture of my mom and dad, and this Neff Lumber Company is where he campaigned for Franklin Del Roosevelt, and this is where he became deputy sheriff of Neff, Ohio. And this was the early 40s, maybe 1940, just before the war actually started, Second World War. And I had a lot of fond memories of this place, as you'll hear as we go along with these pictures. This is another picture at the Neff Lumber Company, and this is my dad with his sheriff badge on, and that's me sitting on the steps there barefooted, and my sister Dot. I was I think about 10 years old there, and I'm thinking Dot was probably about 12 or 13 years old, something like that. And I can't remember the dog's name anymore. I'll have to ask my brother Bob. Maybe he can tell me or Dot. This is another picture of when we lived at Neff Lumber Company, and that's Charlie Hess. He was in the hospital with my dad when he got his arm crushed in a coal mine. And that's my sister Dot there and back of him, and that's me on, as we're looking at the picture on the left with the big St. Bernard dog, and that's my brother Bob on the other side. And my dad campaigned for Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and Charlie Hess was part of this too. This is another picture of Charlie Hess. He's in a wheelchair. I don't know if you can see that. And my sister and myself again on the left hand as we're looking with the St. Bernard dog. And also Davy was running for governor then. And I remember Roosevelt. That's my first president in my life I ever remember, because my dad was so much out trying to get votes for it. This is another picture at the Neff Lumber Company, and this is my dad holding up, I think he's handkerchief, to get this dog to stand up. This dog, when he stood up, was just about as tall as my dad, and this dog came to us at the Neff Lumber Company. I don't remember all the details anymore, but he was a big dog. He was very playful, and we even have pictures showing him jumping over a hedge, which was a very high hedge. It was either 5 or 6 feet high, and this dog could just clear it. This is another picture of Neff. This is the front yard of Neff's lumber company office. This is our big yard out there, and that's that big hedge around there. And that's my brother and Bob and myself, Bud, and we're out there with that big St. Bernard dog. And in the background, there's a house there that the Neff Lumber Company used to rent out. And when we come back from the Second World War, we lived in that little white house back in there. You can see it there in the background. This picture here is Carol Costa. That's my Uncle Chris's daughter. And I guess that's my cousin then, right? And this is in the yard of Neff Lumber Company. They came down on vacation in the 40s to see us, early 40s. This is another picture of the Neff Lumber Company, and that's the St. Bernard dog. And I can't think what we call the dog anymore. I want you to notice my sister Dot, look at her one stocking, how the garters roll down on her leg, and that's my brother Bob, and of course my dad at Neff Lumber Company. That's the entranceway to the house there. This is I showed you a picture of this before of the Neff Lumber Company, and my dad was a sheriff in that, and I gave you some of the other information. But now on this here, I think the dog's name was called that dog Sparkplug. I think so, and it got killed. We went to get ice cream cones and drumsticks at that time when they were out. And if I remember, I think this is a dog that got killed the night we went out for ice cream. This is a picture of the whole Costa bunch here. That's my dad, and that's me standing next to my dad, and that's my brother Bob, and that's my sister Dot, and my mom, Marge, everybody called her. And I don't know where this was taken out, whether this was taken in Indiana, I think. I'm pretty sure it was in Indiana. This is another one from Neff Lumber Company, and of course this is my sister Dot. Look at her fancy shoes. I never noticed that before until we started showing these pictures. And that's me sitting next to my dad. And that porch area, we played on that porch a lot. There's a lot of good memories there. And on those steps, we did a lot of playing on that area right there. Good memories. You notice them shoes that Doc said? Huh? Well, you remember before I told you about this big St. Bernard dog and them hedges in front of the Neff Lumber Company office there. How that dog would clear that hedge for us. We could just throw a ball over or call him over. And that sidewalk right out there is where my brother Bob, walking along, and fell and cut his, right above his eye, cut that open pretty good. And this whole Neff Lumber Company here, this office, and I understand, I haven't been down there, but my sister was down there, Dot, and she tells me that's all been torn out of there now. The building in back there with like a steeple on it is where they used to make the old lamps in there. They went from tallow to kerosene to and then early electric lights, and we salvaged a lot of that, junked a lot of things there. It was old antiques today they'd be. So we had a good time at that place. A lot of good memories. This is, we got a picture of this office, Neff Lumber Company office, and the reason I wanted to focus on that is because my dad was a watchman for this place, and that helped pay for some of our rent. And we also had a coal mine up in the hill. We don't have any pictures of that, where we used to get coal at, dig it out by hand. That's where I had my first experience of being involved with a little coal mine. Okay, can you see it? This is Neff Lumber Company again, and this is that same St. Bernard dog, and you can see my dad was over 6 feet tall. And like I say, this dog, when he was really stretched out, he was just almost as tall as my dad. In the background is where the old gas pump there. We used to pump the gas up into that glass ball there, and they had tile, and that was I was back of that. To the one side there is the hardware store, Fulton's hardware store back in there too. And we used to haul lumber out of the freight cars, come right past that place there. That was the main road that went right into the lumber company. This is in the yard of Neff Lumber Company again, and this is my sister's bicycle. Our boarder that lived with us bought her, and that's me. I had just learned how to ride a bicycle, so like I say, this place has got a lot of good memories there. This is an interesting picture of the Neff Lumber Company. This is a tile that they sold there. And then there to the left in that picture, there's an old boiler there, is where they used to burn all the office papers in it. And then right down through the center there, Brian can focus that in, is where they had the sandboxes there. And we used to get up on them roofs right there and jump into them sandboxes. And that had like I say, that was wood holding the sand in them boxes. It was just like a wood box. And we'd get there and we'd run and jump in the sand. Well, one time my brother Bob spraddled that framing around there, messed himself up a little bit. And there's also where they brought the sawdust out of the Neff Lumber mill there. You can see where it says mill on there. Very, Brian can focus that in. And that sawdust went across that pipe into that there. And we used to go down there and get redwood and make swords and stuff like that. Had a lot of good times down there at the Neff Lumber Company. We got into some mischief when we lived there too. About burnt that place down here. My dad was a night watchman, so we got a lot of good memories of that. That hill back in there, used to roam all over that and everything. And we had a shortcut we used to take to the Sacred Heart Church and walk that when the snow was on the ground many nights. This is the main entrance, if I remember right, to the Neff Lumber Company office. And on the left of the picture, we've got some pups there. I don't know, this might have been when the dog had the one little pup was a morphodite. And I'm on the left, like I say, I'm holding a pup, and then Bob's in the middle, and my sister Dot's holding a pup there. Don't ask me their names, I don't know. This is taken in the backyard of Neff, Ohio there. That's me on the left, and that's JoJo Fenton and my brother Bob, and it's on the picture it says Bobby Costa. But the little Fenton boy there is the one that his dad's name was George Fenton, had the hardware store, and that's where I burnt my leg there at that hardware store, burning some of their trash. But JoJo Fenton and myself used to sneak down in the Neff Lumber Company and smoke cigarettes in a corn pipe. And real interesting picture to me. A lot of fond memories there. That is a picture I have there. This is in the backyard of Neff Lumber Company, and that's my mom with our dog Spark Plug, I'm pretty sure. And in that back, that hill went up there, and that's where the coal mine is up there. But anyhow, one Sunday, my brother Bob lit that sort of like prairie grass there, and there was an old well back there where a spring came into it, and Chuck Jones was at our house, and he took a mop and dipped it down in that old well, and we fought that fire there. We just about set that whole area on fire though. Okay, this is again in the backyard, and that there's Betty Fenton. That's JoJo Fenton's sister, and she played with my sister Dot there. And that dog is when the people, I think, moved out. I think that was a dog, was a German Shepherd or something like that, and I think he's the one that stayed there for a while, and I think that's the dog. Maybe when I talk to Bob or Dot, they'll straighten me out on that, but it was quite a dog. We enjoyed it very much. This is at the Sacred Heart School and Church at Nestle High that we went to, and this is Father Harris, very good friend of the family. He was from Boston, and I can remember when he bought this Plymouth. This was just before the war, and he smoked cigars and used to caddy for him, and can't hardly see it, but just the roof of the car right next to him I think was my dad's 34 Ford. Anyhow, Father Harris was a very good friend of that. Everybody in that town liked him, and the background I think is part of the house I think he stayed in. I hope I'm right on that. Maybe Bob can straighten me out on that too. Someday we'll talk about it. This is a picture of Sacred Heart School and the nuns there, and that's Father Harris there, and in the background is his 40 Plymouth, and I don't know anything about these kids here. I don't know who's in there or anything, so I'll just have to pass that by. This is entrance to Sacred Heart Church in Nestle High that we went many Sundays to, and midnight mass and novenas. And, I understand they've changed the whole entrance there now. I haven't been down there in years. I hope to get there one of these summers again and check it out. This is Charlie Hess. I had told you before there was pictures of him with when my dad was campaigning for Roosevelt, and about my dad being in the hospital with him. And he didn't have any feeling, I think, if I remember, in these legs, and I just thought that it's interesting. He's got a hat on there. This picture is in pretty bad shape, but it's coming out pretty good. And just dig that wheelchair. Sort of a bamboo back or something in it there, but that's an old wheelchair, because this was in the early 40s. So, like I say, he was a good friend of the family's, and I enjoyed him a lot. My dad and mom used to go take him from the hospital and bring him out to our place and spend some time with us. Great man. Well, this is a picture of the Neff School, the Sacred Heart School, and some of the kids are out there, and they're repairing the sidewalks there. And Father Harris is standing in the background, but he used to get out there and work when there was stuff going on. That day there, he probably had other chores to do, but that's him in the background there, and they're repairing the sidewalks. This is front yard Neff Lumber Company again, and this picture here has got to have a dog we call Nellie, and that's her litter of pups. And Nellie is the dog that our boarder, when we lived at the barracks, went to catch a bus to go to work, and the dog had been hit by a car, and I don't know, I think both front legs were broken, and he put splinters on it. He stayed home from work that day, and he fixed that old dog up, and that was quite a dog we had. We had it for several years, and I think I'm correct on it. I think that's Nellie there with her litter of pups. This picture here is of Abe and Polly Sievers, and they're cutting a log up there, and they were real good friends of ours. We called them Grandma and Grandpap, but they weren't no blood relation, but we had a lot of good times when we used to go to their house and spend more than one Saturday night. We had to cross a creek or two, if I remember right, to get to their place, and they're an interesting old couple. They had a cabin built like up in the hillside, and whenever it's lightning, there's thunder, there's storm, they had their food and stuff up there, and they'd just go up there until the storm got over with. And she was a spunky old gal, and didn't allow no cussing in her house, and she had good morals. It was a good old couple. I learned a lot from them, had a lot of good times with them. This is a picture of me when I was 5 months old, and of course at home they called me Buddy, and of course you all know that's my mom, has to be. And I don't know where this was at, but it was either Chicago or Indiana, I'm sure, one of the other places. That's about it for that one. This is not a very good picture. This is a German name, and her name was Rollinger, and I was born on Ogden Avenue, and I was, that's when I was first born, I think that picture there is. And like I say, we can't make it out who the picture of the lady is, but that's what it says on the back of this picture that my mom had wrote. This is what, I don't know if I said it right or not, but he says 1930, and the lady that's holding me says German lady is Mrs. Rollinger, and I was supposed to have been born at 2410 Ogden Avenue, where Joe Costa Jr. was born. So I guess I got that half right anyhow. Well, this is a picture of me, like it says right on there, 1.5 years old, and that's my mom holding me. And dig that street light there too. Brian will focus it in. That was really some kind of a street light, wasn't it? That picture's not in the best shape, but you notice my mom's wearing her fur coat again, so it must have been pretty cold that day. Well, this is on the back of that picture, and you can see it's been through it, just like I have been, I guess. But that's 1932, and about 1.5 year old I was. And it says Grandma, and Joe, which I'm surprised they got Buddy up above there. This is a picture of me again, and I must have been 4 years old because I was born in 1930, so 1934, and it's like a little bit of a sailor uniform there of some type. I think this was taken in Indiana, if I remember right. I think my mom said that's where this picture was taken, probably Terre Haute. This picture here says 1933. That's when it was taken, so I don't know whether I was even that old. We'll see what it says on the back of it. But you notice that edging on that picture, and that's 1933, and that's a century of progress. Pretty neat how they used to do the old pictures. And my mom wrote Dot on that sweater there, and don't look like Dot. It wasn't in too good a mood there for some reason or other. I don't know whether I was stepping on her toe or what. And this other boy that's there with us, it'll tell us on the back of it. I can't remember his name. But we'll turn the picture over and we'll find out who it is. We're going to find out that says a friend, and it says Frank Mustato or something. You tell me how to pronounce that. I don't know. It says they're age 2, so I thought I might have been 3 there, but that tells it right there now. I was 2 years old. And there was Dot, and Dot was, it says they're 3 years old. So that's August 1933. This picture here of me, this is the kind of little pictures they used to put on your report card. This picture is only about an inch, maybe an inch and an eighth high, and probably about, maybe not quite even an inch in width. And it's come off one of my old report cards. I don't know what the age is in there or anything, but that sure definitely was me. This is a picture of me. I don't know what age I was or anything, but you can see right then I'm starting to get a big mouth on me, big lips. Well, this is another picture of me, Buddy, and I don't know what year this is or anything like that, but I think I had a cold sore. I used to get them quite a bit, and I think in this picture here I got one. And had my hair chopped pretty close in. Well, this is another picture of me. I don't know what year it is, but it's that turtleneck sweater that I didn't like. Always made my neck itch and break out. And you can see all the cold sores. I used to get a lot of them when I lived in Ohio. And like I went through a period of a lot of cold sores. And this is one time I had one like this, and I had a number underneath them. And I always used to tell everybody I got that from being in a detention home. Well, it's another picture of me, and I look at these things and I see that top button on in collar. I don't know how in the world I ever stood that. I guess maybe my mom made me do that on account of the cold weather, I guess. But I sure don't like them buttoned up that way today. Now this picture here is dated 1940, so I was either 9 or 10 because I was born December 1st, so I don't know what for sure on it, but that's in that neighborhood. I was looking at that shirt house all pulled out in the back and everything. And them old suspenders, I remember them. And brings out my curly ears too, I see. I used to get picked on at school. They used to call me curly ears. And of course we used to get the nickname of Costa pie when we went to school. Well, before when I showed you this picture, I didn't know what age I might have been there, according to what it says on that picture, 1940 to 41. So I was either 10 or 11. I don't know which. And, there'll be another picture just about like this with Bob coming up. So, like again there, you can see my old cold sores. That old hot turtleneck sweater. Well, this is a picture of my brother Bob, and I only have the one brother and the one sister. But I noticed he's got his collar buttoned up to his neck too. So this is. Well, it's another picture of me, and it looks like I've got a sweater on. It must have been winter time. I see got one of my collars in, one out. That's typical of me. And old chopped hair again. An old barber used to really cut our hair close. Huh? This picture, we showed one just like it. I didn't know I had two of them, but it says on there, Joe Costa II, my buddy, God forever bless him. And that's my mom's writing. So that picture has a special meaning to me. And Brian, why don't you turn it over now and they can see what that picture is on the other side. There it is. So we showed you one like that with the suspenders and cold sores and all that. This is a pretty rare picture of me and Bob would catch me in a bathing suit like that. And we used to swim in the creek, and I can't think of this kid's name here. That I know they were good friends of ours, and I'm going to have to depend on whenever I show this to Bob or Dot, maybe they can tell me. I know his name, but it's just slipped my mind. So anyhow, they'll be able to tell me who he was. And I know we played around with him quite a bit. Okay, this picture here now was taken at the barracks when we lived at the barracks, and them is Navy suits that me and Bob's got on there, and I think that's a real interesting picture. Even that dress my mom's got on, and you can see she was quite young then. And, we lived in the barracks there. The railroad tracks went in behind that, and we had one pump that everybody drank from. And this is where we met Abe and Mom Sievers. They were staying in one of those apartments there, or housing, or you want to call it. This is when I made my first Holy Communion at Nips, Ohio, Sacred Heart Church, and I can remember that, the white pants, and it was all in white, and the prayer book and everything. And what I remember on this picture here, I never thought about it at the time too much, but Father Harris said that I had made a good-looking priest. And I think he probably told all the boys in that first Holy Communion ceremony, but it's amazing I did end up later on in my life to become a deacon of the church, so I'm still clergy yet, so maybe he wasn't too far off. This is a picture of me when we lived down in the old home place by Lloydsville. And this is out in our front yard. I can't remember the dog's name now. It might have been Susie. I don't know for sure. I think I was about 16 there. This was taken at St. Joe High, and there's Nellie there, and I don't know the other two dogs there. I'll have to check about that, but we didn't live there too long. In fact, when we came from Chicago after my dad was up there during the Second World War, and we lived up there. He was a watchman, and we came and lived in a house in Neff there. At the Neff Lumber Company was one of the rental house, and then we moved to St. Joe. It wasn't there too long, and this was some interesting times in our life. I can remember that my mom was in Chicago, and a lot of memories of this place we lived in St. Joe. And this is where Pap had some pretty nice chickens, and me and Louis Clintage and my brother went out and was selling chickens. They were live. We had them in a sack, and we sold them for $1 a piece, and we sold one to a lady who went to our church. And we went to church one Sunday, and she told my dad, she said, your son's really sold me an awful nice chicken for $1. And of course, I don't need to tell you that I got into trouble because I was the oldest. And so that town there has quite fond memories. This picture here is an interesting school picture where me and Dot went. And this is McLeansville School, and the year was 1936, November 12th. And teachers' names there, and evidently we had two teachers there. I see Mrs. Boyles and Mrs. Moore, and Violet Houchin is in that picture in 8th grade, and that was August 16th. And when we turn that picture over and we start gazing in on some of the ones that's in that picture, it's a pretty interesting picture. This school picture here, there's an X, and that's my sister Dot with the X on it. And Brian can zoom in there, maybe we might be able to pick her out. Okay, that's Dot there with the X on her. And then there's a little blonde girl over there, that was Helen Jones. And Aunt Vi is right there by the corner of the building. Her head is real close to the corner of the building. That's Aunt Vi in there. And, well, let me see. Take that back again, Brian. No, Aunt Vi is right there by the window. The right-hand window with the X on it. That's Aunt Vi right there. And Chuck Jones is sitting down on the ground, and he's to our, as we're looking at the picture, to our far right, sitting on the ground. And that's Chuck Jones there. So there was Helen Jones and Chuck Jones, and I don't know, I think maybe that whether Aunt Midge is in there or not, I don't know for sure on it, but I'm in there, and as he goes along here, there I am liking them coveralls right there with the X on it. And there's a little story about that. I was really embarrassed with going to that school there because I had diarrhea, and the teacher cleaned me up, and I don't know whether Aunt Vi helped on that or not. I remember I got cleaned up though, and at that time, why you just couldn't call home and get picked up, so I just had to suffer out the day anyhow. That's an interesting picture. That's I think that was our school teacher there that was right next to Aunt Vi, so that's an interesting picture. I don't know if Bob and Pat have a copy of this picture or not, but if they don't, I sure need to get a copy for this and make sure they have it, because this is You don't get much like this anymore. Now, this is my first Holy Communion. There again is Father Harris, and I'm to the far right, on the ground, the far right. That's me there. And then if Brian will, that's Father Harris, and there was different kids in there that I would need some help with. There is Joe Klinage is right there in that picture. He's right in the center almost. Yeah, he would be from where I'm at. Go to your left. He'd be the fourth boy. That's Joe Klinage, and that's the one that went out with us to sell those chickens. There's the Phillips girls in there too. So, and Smelko and ones like that. So anyhow, maybe Bob and Dot, when I show this to them, maybe they can pick out some of them gals in there too. Boys, my memory don't pick up anymore. And you gotta remember now, this probably was before Does was out and all them good laundry stuff. And some of them kids look awful white and clean, don't they? What does that say on the first and second grade reading? I might have been in the first grade, I don't know. This is a picture of Margaret Fulton was a school teacher, and this was in Clarksburg school I went to. It says grade 1A, and that's the first and second grade, but I don't know even what grade I was in there, it doesn't matter. This is one of the school pictures here, and I am second from the left, sitting on the ground, and remember this school picture quite well because there's a girl in this picture that Peggy Radcliffe, a little blonde girl. We had a little footbridge we had to go over, and maybe Brian can focus over to the right and I'll show you her picture. And little blonde-headed girl, she's right there with an X, I think, on her. From the back row, the second little girl in from the right, and that's the first girl I ever remember kissing on a bridge. And I got ribbed about that quite a bit. And I used to go see our teacher, Mary Fulton. I used to go to her house when we lived in Ness after that. I thought she was one of the best teachers I had. I remember a lot of these kids, but I don't remember their names anymore. I mean, I know their faces come back to me, but I just can't remember all their names. That shirt I had there was had a zipper shirt. Boy, I remember got that from Spiegel's, and I thought I was hot stuff, because I could just zip that thing right up. Well, I'll tell you what, this picture here, I think I don't even have to even say too much about this picture here. That's Bob to the left and me in the middle and Dot. And did you ever see anything any sweeter than that? Let me know if you have, okay? Well, this is the old home place at Lloydsville. A lot of memories in this house here. My dad bought that, and my mom from Mackey, Ben Mackey, and this is some of me and Bob's carton work on the front of this house. Bob laid that stone wall up there, and right in that area right there, to go into the basement. And that's the old 36 Plymouth that we had. I cut down and made a truck out and all this tall junk and stuff. That was my first car. And that place there has got a lot of memories. That was an old house. We had a spring house in the back of it. Dug out part of the basement. This is a house a lot of memories, and Grandma stayed in it for years after we left it. And they finally tore that all down now, so we just got the memories now. Well, here we are. This is back at the barracks where we lived at, the one next to the railroad tracks and that. We moved in there after Pap had his arm. It was crushed in a coal mine, and he was recuperating. He came home from the hospital, and we moved in there. And that one pump there was for all the people who lived there. And I don't remember how many toilets that I see there. It looks like there's one outside toilet there to the left. That's Bob on the left of the picture as you're viewing it, and I'm next to him there. And the picture says Bob, Joe, and I can't think of that little gal's name there. And then there was Alan and Joyce. And Joyce is a little girl that had me back in the coal shanty back there, and my dad caught us back in there, and I guess I had my clothes off, and I guess she had her clothes off, and I guess she was doing some things that my dad said that kids shouldn't be doing. So that place there also, that's where we lived at Romeo, our boarder, found Nellie. He was waiting for the miners bus out on that road there, and there was a bakery truck that went down over the hill there, and my dad couldn't do too much at the time, but in one of the little coal shanties there, he took and made up some yard decorations, Dutch mills and Dutch girl and Dutch boy and stuff like that, and he used the bottom of the drawers when that bread truck wrecked. So that place there has a lot of good memories too, and a lot of good stories that I don't have time to get into all of it, but I briefly informed you what went on there, and a lot of things happened while we lived right there. Well, this is the old home place at Loysville, Bannock Road, I guess some people call it, where our house was. And this is me on the left and Brian on the I keep talking, Brian's doing this video here for us, but my brother Bob, and he's in a bathing suit, and he used to swim down at the strip mines down there with Betty Lou Curry, and I think probably Betty Moore and some other girls down in there. But I just wanted to say something about my hair. If you noticed, I got a blonde streak through my hair, and I used to get ribbed about that. The girls said, what did I do to it? They'd like to do it to their hair, and I said, that's just the way it is, and they didn't believe me. They thought I was using something on it, but that's part of my life that I went through, that I had that streak of my hair there, and I didn't like it. This looks like it's about the same thing as the other picture. The only thing it shows a little more of the house. So we had a porch swing there, and we sat in that swing many a times, and nothing else to do but just to sit in there and swing. But a lot of good memories of that house there. A lot of hard work was done to that house, and it was pretty much not much there when we bought it. Now this is Bob Paul, a good friend of ours that we spent a lot of hours with. And on our hillside there, he's planting corn with a hand corn planter. And you noticed all the badges on his cap. He was a hard-working guy. And we spent a lot of times with him. We used to go to the Barnesville picture show, go into St. Clairsville. He had a 35 Ford, and really a good friend of ours. And I'd like to see him if I could sometime. I've heard some stories, but I don't know if they're true or not. But we'll find out someday. Well, that's Bob in the middle of football, and that's me on the right side. And this one lived on 4th Street. And I'm going to have to ask Bob who that boy is there. I know him, and I know his name just like almost know mine, but I guess I can't remember. So I'll have to check with Bob on this one and see. If you notice, Bob's got a cap on, and this other kid didn't. I hardly ever wore a cap. I never liked them, but anyhow, we was out there playing a little bit of football, it looks like. And I think this was around 1949, something like that. 48, 49. Well, this is my dad at Crown Hill Antique Shop, and this is Uncle Joe and his Pontiac station wagon. that's one of his Uncle Joe's boy there. I don't know what his name is or anything, but maybe Dot can tell me. But interesting picture. I'm trying to figure out what year that Pontiac is. I can't remember if that's a 55 or 56, somewhere along there. Now this is my Uncle Frank in Chicago, and that's his Hudson car. And I think they came and visited him at the, I think it was at the antique shop, I'm not too sure. But he finally ended up moving to California. I think this was my dad's youngest brother, Frank. I'll check with Bob on there. Oh, this is Larry Celestini's 50 Buick, and that's his wife there, and one of their children there. And this was, I think this was taken at the antique shop, and it's not a very clear picture, but I'm glad we got this much of it. He really thought a lot of that Buick, and that was quite a car for him at that time. And I'm trying to think of her name. Anyhow, it's on the back of the picture, so. This picture of this lady here, her name was Goldie Skaggs, and she was our teacher at Great Western, and we lived there at Lloydsville, in the old place. And this is, this lady probably had, outside of my mom, probably had more to do about my changing my altitude and attitude and whatever, and temper. She's a fine, she's almost like a second mother, but she was a fine school teacher too, and she did a lot for me, and I just thank the Lord for this school teacher of mine. Her name, like I say, was Goldie Skaggs, and there's many stories I could tell about this lady, and I know that when I get to heaven, she's going to be there for sure. Well, this is my sister Dot, and I think this picture was taken in Indiana. I don't know what age she was and everything, but she's got a nice background there with all the old cars too. And I don't know who the people are there. They're back over there, but maybe sometime if I get around Aunt Virginia or something, or maybe Dot can shine some light on it, I don't know, but good picture. Well, this picture here was taken in Rickon, Ohio. We lived on 4th Street. I think it was North 4th Street. And of course that's my brother Bob to the left. And I'm in the middle, and that's Red Phillips with a cigar in his hand. And Red Phillips, we went to Sacred Heart School, and he was there at that school too. And just a good friend of ours too. I'll tell you what, this picture here will give you something to write home about. And this is that Great Western School we went to. It was right along the old Cumberland Route 40 highway. And it's set down in a, they built a new Route 40, and the school set down in a little dip like. And there was, the teacher was Goldie Skaggs. I just showed you that picture of her. And this is some of my writing on there of the different people that I could remember their names. I sat down one day and wrote on there. And sometime I'd like to get with my brother Bob and see if he can the names too. There's some of them I've forgotten. Of course, Bill McCourt would be able to name them all off. And so I visited him a couple times. I told him I'm going to bring that picture and have him go over it with me. But when we turn it over, I'll be able to name off some of them anyhow. I'll have Brian. He can turn that over. Boy, this here is, I imagine Bob will enjoy seeing this here. I know he's got a picture of that, but to see this on the screen like this, the arrow shows where it says Joe Costa, that's me. And my brother Bob is, he's actually right next to Aldreda McCourt, and there's Bubby Hickenbottom, and there's Bill McCourt right next to me there. And of course, there's Mrs. Skaggs and Betty Purdy and Lily Lou Curry and Floyd and the Wright kids, and well, there's just too many of them. Winston, Grady on there, and So Violet Loy, I can name off a few of them, and so we'll talk about it sometime when I show this to Bob, and he'll be able to maybe name off some of these kids too. Best school I ever went to, I think. You gotta remember now, this was a one-room schoolhouse. We had pot-belly stove, and we had outside toilets. We got our water up at the experimental farm, and this had the old wooden floors in it that they oiled down every once in a while, and we had to carry our coal in from the coal house. And I was a janitor of this school, got $5 a month's janitoring, and a lot of good times here at this school. Well, this picture here is my uncle Joe Cyril, and he was married to my dad's sister Jenny, and he had this 41 Pontiac, and he was down to visit us in Rittman, and he started to go back to Chicago, and a generator went out, and so I worked at H.L. Strickland's in Rittman High, and my mom gave me a call, and I grabbed my toolbox, and I went up and took his generator off and put new brushes in it so he could drive back to Chicago. And he was supposed to be an automobile mechanic, but he didn't know how to put brushes in that generator. Very interesting. This is a big snow in Rittman, I think in either 49 or maybe 50, somewhere right along there. I think might have been the snow of 50, I don't know, but we had a pretty good snow then, and that's my 41 Chevrolet. That's me shoveling out there. And behind me is Bob's 41 Dodge, and that was a great car I had there. I had $40 a month house payment, $40 a month car payments on that. A great car. Well, this one here is me and Mim and Joey, our first born, and I think this was taken in the back of Johnny Piper's yard. And well, this is our wedding pictures, and I guess by now everybody knows that's me. Well, this is Red Phillips and me. We went to Chippewa Amusement Park up in Chippewa, and this is Red Phillips and just me, that's all. And I don't know what I had on my chin there. I don't, with this day I can't tell you. I know my face looks puffy, I don't know. This picture here is Chuck Jones and his friend Junior, and this is a garage on 4th Street in Rittman where we lived. And this was his 37 or 38 Ford that Chuck Jones had wrecked and turned it over. That's about it on that picture. This picture here is of Bob and on 4th Street. And that's my 41 Chevrolet. And I think this was taken in about probably 49 or something like that. Well, this is at the same place in Rittman on 4th Street, and that's me to the left of the picture you're looking at with a cigarette in my hand. And that's Dot, and that's Bob. And we just look like we come from Chicago. We just look like gangsters there. But we thought we were something else. We was all decked out. I think this was at Easter time. I think so. Well, this is on 4th Street again, and I even forgot I had this picture here. That's I don't have my hat on. I'm to the left there, and of course that's Pap in the middle. And I'd forgotten that he got in on this picture. Well, this is again some more than gangster pictures. This time looks like I got a cigarette in my mouth and I got a hat on. So that's just myself and Dot in the middle and Bob on the other side. It's about the same picture, I think, isn't it, Brian? And this is just with Dot by herself. Again, I think this was at Easter time. She looks like she's got a flower on, corsage. This is Dot and Dale Beekler, and that's Kathy and Mary, and I think I hope I'm right on this. Maybe Dottie Joe. If not, they'll straighten me out on it anyhow. That's a fine looking family, I'll tell you that. This is the wedding of Carol, and there's Uncle Chris there on the left, and Aunt Virginia, and then of course that's Carol being kissed by her new husband, and that's Aunt Olga there, I believe, to the right. That was a wedding he took in, and that's my dad's brother there, Chris. Well, this is my mom and Grandma Houchin, my sister Dot, and her husband Dale, and I believe that's was that Dottie Joe there? I can't remember. Well, this is just another one of the wedding pictures, and Brian just informed me that the other one I was smiling on, this one I'm not, so I guess I was getting a little more serious. Well, this is quite a concoction here. That's in the middle, that's Uncle Chris and Grandma Costa, and next to her is Uncle Frank, and then next to these guys' arm around my mom, and then of course on the other side of there is me and Mim, and then Dale Beekler, and my sister's down in front with the children. Well, boy, here we got the Crown Hill Antique Shop, and Randy is sitting in that little desk there to the left of the door, and then to the right is Joey standing next to Grandpap there, my dad, and that's the two Joes together, and then there's my 54 DeSoto right out there in front, and that's the old Crown Hill Antique Shop, and very interesting picture, I'd say. You don't get any better than that. Okay. This is the Crown Hill Antique Shop again, and that is Brian and my mom. He's holding his hands with Grandma there. And, I think we might have another one of these too, I think, with him and Grandma together. Well, I told you that I think we had another picture of Brian and Grandma. I don't know whether she's getting ready to go out to the mailbox. Looks like she's got something in her hand there. But I'll tell you what, that brings back a lot of memories right there. And that's well, this is the two lovebirds here. That's Mim and myself, and that's when I was courting Mim. And I'll tell you what, that's my sweetheart for sure. Well, that's Mim's dad, Joe Morrison, and that's Mim's mom, Pearl Morrison, and that's my mom, Maggie, or Marge, or Margaret. And there's my dad, Joseph or Joe, and that's an unusual picture because we really don't have that many of the in-laws together, I guess. And that's Dad's new truck there, Chevrolet truck. Well, this is I think at Mim's baby shower, and of course that's Mim in the center, and she's holding, I think, Kathy Burkett there, I think, and that's my sister on the other side of Mim, Dot, and my mom on the other side of that. And there's Pearl, Mim's mother, and there's Vera, I think, in there somewhere. And anyhow, that's the whole Morrison gang there. And I think that's Johnny, little Johnny Morrison there, a little boy in front, so quite a picture. This is a picture of myself and Joey when he was just a baby. And it's not much of it's pretty blurry, but we got what we got there, and we're going to move on we got this, we don't have anything in sequence here, we're just sort of putting this together. It's about 2:38 in the morning, and Brian is doing all this recording, and I'm trying to fill in what I can with information. This is Louis Clintage from St. Joe. He went to Sacred Heart School in Nesselhigh, and he's the one that was with us, as I said before, when we were out selling chickens. We were supposed to sell my dad's, take some money from his chicken coop, sell them for $1 a piece, and then we was going to go to his chicken coop and get some, but we got caught, so he never had to get rid of any of these dads. Well, this is Sister Dot. I don't know what year this picture is taken, but she always was a beautiful gal. I think this picture here tells you that too. Good picture. I think of her a lot and pray a lot for her. It's the only sister I got, and I thank the Lord for her. This is just Uncle Rico, and I don't know who he's holding, what kid he's holding, so we're just going to move on. This is Uncle Rico again. That picture looks like it's been through the Civil War, but we got that much of it. I've always liked him. Maybe sometime I'll get into Indiana and see him yet. I hope so. This is a picture of my dad's in it, and I don't know if we can even pick him out. And I think this is during the campaign. He campaigned for the Democratic Party and for Roosevelt and for the commissioners of Belmont County and stuff. And I don't know. I think this is taken somewhere in Blair, Ohio. So, like I say, he's in there, but I don't know if we can zoom him out or not. He's right there to the right hand of the picture. There's like a speaker there, and he's right there below that. But we'll just move on. Did you pick him out, Brian? Where is that? If you go to the left, okay, he's right there now. See on the left-hand corner right there? He's got his hat, I think, in front of him right there. So that's packed right in there. That's good enough. Move on. This is one of the union meetings, I think, at the Ohio Box Board he belonged to, and he's to the far right there. Right there next to the guy that's got that loud shirt on. That's my dad there with the glasses. He was really into the union part of it. He worked there at the blacksmith at the Ohio Box Board. This is that Italian family from Chicago. That's Uncle Frank and Grandma Costa, known in Chicago as the White Witch. And that's Uncle Chris there. She's put her 2 fingers up there to make him look, I guess, trying to think that there's a little bit of devil in him, but I don't think that we should say that. We don't know devil in anybody. And I can't think of the guy that's sitting on the bumper of Pap's old Studebaker truck there, but I got part of it anyhow, so we'll move on. This is a school picture from St. Charles School, and this was in '43. That's when we lived in Chicago during the Second World War. And if you want to try to find me, I'm in the 3rd row, from the second row from the bottom up. I am the 1 2/3 boy right there, with a skinny necktie on and a white shirt. So I guess I was around 13 there. Well, this is Grandma Costa. And Grandma Costa was, besides being my grandma, she was a great friend of mine. I went to Chicago to work up there. We had some real good time together, and she always smelled a little bit like garlic to me. Well, this is some more of my buddies from Lloydsville. That's Frank Sarah, the tall one. And that's my mom in the middle with her bonnet on. I think that's Susie, her dog. And that's Bill McCourt. And that's our 38 Plymouth in the background. And, I'll tell you that picture there ought to win an award for something. Now this picture here is, you can see it's pretty wrinkled up, but it's a treasure. That's my mom, and that's Mim, and that's Brian right there. And Brian's the one that's doing this recording here now. I thank him for spending this time doing this, so bringing back a lot of good memories. Put on. This is my dad, and again at 4th Street, and this is a good picture of him. He's standing by my 41 Chevrolet, and I'm looking in there now, and I see my fog lights on there, and my white wheel trims and everything, and my long antenna. You notice the antenna, how high it is? I had a lot of fun in that car. I ended up rolling that over though, and I ended up when I went to trade it. Pat bought it, and he drove for quite a while. Well, this is me and them, and I think this was taken around Easter time. And you notice that suit I got on is funny big. My mom said when I bought that suit, she says, get one of the 2 pair of pants. And she says, because you always wear the pants out quicker than the jacket. Well, this is when I was courting Mim. That's me on the left, and Mim on the right of me. And then the next one is Barb, and Mim's cousin. And that's Brother Bob there. And we used to go out double dating, and we had some real good times. I could tell you some stories about that too, but I don't think we're going to at this time. We're just going to move on. Well, this picture here is 4 generations. That's my mom, and that's Kathy and my sister, and Grandma Houchins. So that's 4 generations there. Well, that's Chuck Jones and his buddy's 36 Ford Coupe on 4th Street. Well, this picture here is my mom, my Grandma Houchin, and my dad. It's quite an interesting picture. Well, that's me and them at the top left, and Grandma Costa from Chicago, and my dad next to her. And then in front of them is my sister Dot, she's expecting, and my mom. And, I think there's Kathy, I think, is there, and I'm really not too sure. Somebody will have to tell me who the other ones are there. Well, I don't know why this picture never made Life magazine, because it's a doozy. There's up at the right hand corner is Pat Costa. And then if we go to far left, that's Grandma Brian, and I think she's holding Brian there. And next to Grandma is Connie, and there's Pam, and then that there is Maisie's sister. Oh golly, her name just left me. I'll think of it someday. I'm sure it will. Brian, do you remember? Well, this picture here is, of course, that's Joey. And if I remember right, I think Joey's got a thing where he had off. He had some kind of infection under the nail. And I think he should have a bandage on it there. You probably can't see it. But that's me there holding him. And of course, that's my 48 Plymouth. And I ended up hitting a boy on a motor scooter. And so I remember that car quite well. I think this was up on Park Street, this picture was taken in Richmond. Well, of course, that's Pap and Mom. And she's always told me she never liked this picture, but I don't know whether the photographer gave them a rough time or what happened. But it's both of them. I'm glad we have it. I think it might have been one of the last pictures that they had taken. So it's a good picture. Well, this is clipping out of the paper when says Antique Man Dies in Wayne. This is telling about my dad. They owner of a Crown Hill antique shop on Route 5 between Richmond and Smithville, died Wednesday in Orville community. a hospital after a week of illness. Mr. Costa of RD1 also was a blacksmith at the Packard Corporation of America for 15 years. Born in Indiana, he resided in Monroe County, then in Rittman 9 years, and year 5. He and his wife Margaret opened an antique shop in 1957. He was a member of St. Anne's Catholic Church at Rittman and its Holy Name Society and the Knights of Columbus of Wadsworth. And he leaves his mother Margaret of Chicago, 2 sons Joseph Jr. and Robert Wadsworth, a daughter Mrs. Dorothy Baker of Creston, 3 brothers, a sister, 12 grandchildren. Reckoning Mass will be at 10 a.m. Saturday at the church at the burial at the church cemetery. Friends will be received Friday from 7 to 9 p.m. at the Gillenheim Funeral Home, Rittman. The rosary will be recited at 8:30. That's good enough. Well, this picture here, you've heard of the 3 Musketeers. Now you get to see them, and I bet you didn't know one of them was a female. Well, that's my brother Bob to the left, and my sister in the middle, and that's me to the right, and we're holding Pie Chokey's little dog there. And this is when we stayed at this old man's house, and his name was Edward Pie Chokey. I know that dog's name, but I can't remember now, so we'll move on again. These pictures here was at Christmas time, and about 55, I guess it was, and that's my dad and my mom, and the Beekler family was there, and that's me and them in the background there, and with Joey and Randy, and there's them, and there's a dog we had, and Pap's in the background, and Dale sitting on the sofa, and that's Mary and Kathy, and Dolly, I can't think of the dog's name now. So there's some more Christmas pictures of 55. And this is this is a gal, a mechanical lamp that Plaster owed me some money, and he had this up in his attic. He'd come home drunk with it. His wife never let him put it in the house. So he gave me a little bit of money, and give me the rest of it in that lamp there. And anyhow, it was a hook. He did the shimmy shake anyhow. I guess it's worth some money today if you had it. So anyhow, that's the Christmas of what it was. We had our little house on Fernwood, and the Beeklers came over and spent a little bit of Christmas time with us. Well, this in here is some antiques from my mom and dad's antique shop at Crown Hill, Doylestown Road, and you have to be an antique lover, I guess, to appreciate this, but I would imagine some of them things has went up in price for now. And this is some more of the Christmas of 55. That's Mem, and on the far right, and Dale and the dad. There's Mem again, and Dale. And of course, this is my dad with the top hat, and Dale. I think they might have had a few beers or something that day. They're happy on that. More antiques from the Crown Hill antique place. And of course, this is my sister Doc and my mom. And I don't know if they had anything to drink. I think they were just happy that day. They had a good time. And these pictures that we're showing now is, I got a letter the other day, and these pictures came in it, and these are from Chuck Jones. And this was our Uncle Pig's wife's brother, who's a good friend of ours, Chuck Jones was. And this is a picture of me there, and I don't know what the dog's name were anymore, but that's my dad. He was a watchman at one of the mines, and that's our 36 Plymouth in the background, and that's my sister next to my dad there. And I believe these was taken at St. Joe. I think so. St. Joe, Ohio. Now this picture I think was taken about the same time. It says on the edge of that picture 1944. So that makes me about 14 years old, I guess. Wait a minute, I might have been 13, yeah, because that's April. Well, anyhow, whatever. And this was a St. Joe. We lived there. And of course that's Nellie, Bob's holding Nellie, The other two dogs, I don't know, Dotson and Serenade to the right. This is Pat. He worked in the coal mines, and this is about, looks like he's got his battery lamp on that, and he must have come home that day, and somebody took, I don't know who took the picture or anything, but that's when we lived in St. Joe, if I remember right. This is Pap again when he was watchman at one of the mines, and there's one of the Joneses' relatives, 35 Plymouth, I think, in the background. And that shows his 38 Army Colt gun that he's wearing there. That's Bob right there. This picture here was, we lived up on 4th Street, and I think that's Bob standing there. I'm going to ask him when I show it to him. But I think they was building that new house next door, and I think that might have been the house he worked for Vernon Steiner. I'm going to ask him, so we're going to move on then, and I'll let you. Well, this picture here is of Dot, and I guess it's a Garfield Park when she was in Chicago. I don't know what year that was or anything, but looks pretty young there, so I'll have to ask her. This is Pat's picture when he was a blacksmith at the High Boxwood. This is again one of those pictures that Chuck Jones sent me. And he wants me to reply back if I got the pictures. He wants to know where Bob and Dog is. Oh, this is really a couple monkey shiners here. That's Bob. Looks like he's got part of his shirt in. He's got a hat on there. I don't know where in the world he ever got that from. And that's me standing next to him with a cigarette in my hand. In the background there's the old trailer we used to do all the Palmer junk and stuff in. This is out Lloydsville, the old home place. What a picture, my word. Well, this is our toilet at Neck Lumber Company, and I guess you can see what's going on there. That's Pap sitting in on there, but if I look at it real close, I don't think he had his britches down, so I hope he ain't doing anything too serious there. He's grunting though, I see that. We spent a lot of time in that place there. Well, this is a picture of the old home place at Lloydsville again, and that's Pap out there. It must have been pretty cold. Looks like he's got his jacket on. I think he might have a cigarette in his mouth, and that is Chuck Jones' Model A coupe that he came to see us there, and I ended up going down and staying a couple of days with him and Ness, and this was right after that. I think I went to Chicago to go to work. So this is about the same. This is the same picture taken about the same time we showed the one just before that. And of course, that's Mom there with her dog, and that's Pap again. I'm leaning on Pap, and that's Bob. Looks like that there could be Tobacco Road a little bit, couldn't it? Well, now this and here's the old home place in Lloydsville again. This is a garage that we used to keep the 36 Plymouth in, and that's Bob there, and with his famous hat and that bicycle. I'm going to have to talk to him about that. I think I know that's not my old bike. I think that's the one that this one friend of ours that worked in the strip things and that we went to Pennsylvania. I think that might be his bicycle. I'm going to ask Bob about that bicycle. Well, here's a picture here. It says, seen here is Joe Costa, Ohio Boxboard Company blacksmith, and his grandchild, Margaret Kathleen Rook, in arms. Grandpa chose very proud of little Kathy, and no wonder decked out in her pretty red coat and bonnet. She's cute as Christmas. Kathy is demonstrating the achievement of sticking out her tongue, a trick Grandpa taught her. I have to talk to Kathy and see if that's true. We've showed this picture before, but I don't know if Boots is in it or not, so we're going to move on. Does that look a little bit like Rick to you? Bob does? And what about Rick's one son? He sort of smiles like that too. Well, this is about all we're going to do tonight. It's 3:12 in the morning, and we've been videoing these pictures, and hope that everybody sees them and enjoy them as much as I have. I think Brian's enjoying them. And this is a reunion down at Higginsport. Bob and Pat's place right along the High River, and this is where I will never ever have anything like this happen again, because there's been people since this has been taken. They're no longer with us now. And, so we had quite a day. It was real muggy and hot, and I could name off just about everybody there, but I don't think I'm going to. Whenever you look at it, I think you'll recognize who you are. But it's the Lord's really blessed us. I know that. And it's many more blessings that come. I just thank the Lord for everybody that's in that picture. Like I say, some of them are not here, but I just thank the Lord for that. We had such a good time. I looked at this picture here tonight, or this morning, I guess I should say. As I see Aunt Vi and some of the other ones in there. A lot of good memories. Good night, everyone.